Welcome to the right-hand menu. You can automate your target audience engagement scenarios with our ready-to-use workflows. In this video, we're going to look at automating the management of surveys. This includes customizing the survey template to tailor the questions, creating survey campaigns for the range of products or services offered, scheduling the SMS or email invites to target specific customer segmentations, etc. Before we start, please check out our video on mapping your Google account, so that you can download our workflow sheets to your Google Drive, and customize them. The links to the videos are in the description. Let's get started. First, let's enable surveys. Log in to your right-hand menu account, and go to the Settings tab. Scroll down to the Survey Settings section, and enable surveys by clicking the checkbox. You can also set a target for the Net Promoter Score measurements, if you want to capture NPS in the survey. Now, save the settings, and click the single-page sample button, to visualize a sample survey page that shows all the questions, in a single page. You can customize the branding, logo, color, business name, etc. to match your business brand guidelines, defined by your marketing team. You can also click the multi-page sample button, to visualize a sample survey that is dynamic in nature, delivering one question at a time. Now, let's download the survey template. Go to the Workflow tab, and navigate to the survey keyword. This would be visible, now that we've enabled surveys in the Settings tab. Click on the link below the survey keyword, to go to RBA Rules tab. In Step 1, within the RBA Rules tab, click on Sign in with Google, and log in to your Google account mapped to the right-hand menu, and finally click Proceed to go to Step 2. In Step 2, you can download the survey template to your Google Drive. Create folders in your Google Drive and move the downloaded template to the respective folder. We've explained this in our video on mapping your Google Drive account. Check out the description for the video link. Before we begin customizing the template, let's understand what the contents of a survey template look like. The first column is a field called Step Number. The numbers are generally sequential starting from 1. But it doesn't have to be in an order, though we recommend it. Each step is mapped to one of the languages enabled in the survey. For example, if English and French are the languages enabled in this survey, then each step will repeat for English and French, respectively. What's most important to remember is that the step number and language combination is unique. No two rows should have the same step number for a particular language. Else, the synchronization of the template with DB will fail. You can enable more languages by adding them in the Languages sheet. The second column, or column B, contains the text that will be posted to your target audience. The content will be read and displayed, just the way it appears in this cell. If it has a line break for a new sentence or paragraph, the line breaks will appear in the survey page too. The third column, or column C, tells the automation engine what is the type of question that is being set up. Based on the value chosen for question type, the automation framework allows flexibility to include rules for post-processing. The simplest of these is the multiple choice type of question or text, which can have options that the target audience can choose from and respond to. These are of 3 types. The first allows the audience to select just one option at a time. The second allows selection of more than one option. Both these types support up to 10 choices only. The third allows selection of more than one option, while supporting more than 10 choices. For the third type of multiple choice question, we set up the answer choices in the sheet called Multiple Select Answers 10+. Here, we provide the step number in column A, to identify the question that these answer choices belong to. The step number can repeat for as many choices as we want. In column B, we provide the choice number. This is unique for each step number and language combination. In column C, we select the type of choice. This can be a simple option, or special options. One of the special options allows the selection of all the options when checked. Another special option allows the typing of comments, notes and feedback in a text area. In column D, we provide the content for the choice text, in the appropriate language. In this case, we provide each choice number for a step number, with a text for both English and the French language. In column E, we specify the language, by selecting the appropriate drop-down value. Coming back to the question types, we can also configure a step that captures free text for comments or feedback or opinion on a specific topic. Then, we have a special question type, that is designated as the NPS question. Selecting this type will display the question with a color scale from red to green, mapped against the choices from 1 to 10. Then we have a message type called End of Conversation. The survey ends when this step is reached. The question or text against a row of this question type will be the last message sent to the target audience. If the workflow does not end in this type of message, the conversation will be hanging, without completion. You will not be able to see incomplete conversations in the dashboards or reports, and hence, will remain hidden. There's one more type of end of conversation, which when reached, has the option to execute an API call. You can configure the endpoint API call execution for this step number, in the RBA Rules tab. For example, you can publish the audience's NPS or survey results, to your CRM apps or in-house tools. Check out the description for a video on how to set this up. The next column is called step number to fire. We define the step number to which the control will flow to, when the target audience responds to the current question. We provide the next step number here. For multiple choice question type, we configure the next step number for each of the choices, which is the column that is next to each choice. Also, if the current row's message type is end of conversation, then the current row, obviously, does not need the next step number, since the flow ends with the current step. Multiple choice message type will need the choices or options to be defined. When you create an option, you provide the text that will be displayed, and you also provide the step number that should be triggered when this option is selected by the target audience. Hence, each option, like option A, option B, and so on, till the 10th choice, which is option J, needs the next step number to be defined. You can create up to 10 options, for each multiple choice message type. Here are some of the do's and don'ts to remember when working with template sheets. Number 1. Do not edit or change the formula or the formatting. Number 2. Do not rename the worksheets or change their order. The automation engine would expect the survey questions to be available in the first worksheet called template. Number 3. Do not change the content of the worksheet called metadata. Number 4. Do not download the Google spreadsheets to your hard disk, to open and work on it with other tools like Microsoft Excel. Please open the spreadsheet in a browser only. Some of the formula and rules may get lost if other tools are used. Number 5. When inserting a new row across the template worksheet, please copy the contents of a row in its entirety, and paste it on the newly inserted row. There are cells that contain formatting rules and formula, which will not be available in a newly inserted row. Copying and pasting contents of an existing row will also insert the necessary rules and formatting needed for the new row to be functional. We now open the template and customize the survey. The first step is to select the languages that you want a survey to be available in. Your customers will be able to choose one of these languages when participating in the survey. We've selected English and French. You can also include Spanish, Arabic, and Hindi. We've also cleared all the questions that came with the downloaded survey template. We'll now create the survey questions, one by one. First, we create the welcome message that sets the context, while also requesting the customer to participate in the survey by selecting Proceed. We set this up as a multiple choice question type, with 2 options. The first option, Proceed, takes the customer into the survey. The second option exits the survey, prompting the customer to revisit the survey link later. In the next row, we repeat the same content, but in the French language. Also, we provide the step numbers to these rows. It's one for both the rows. We now select the language for these rows, in the last column called Language. We select English and French against the respective rows. Now, we put the content for the question to capture the Net Promoter Score. We do that by selecting NPS as the question type. Next, we provide the scale or the range for the NPS value options. Finally, we provide the step number, 2 in this case, for the question on NPS, and map it to the first question's Proceed option. Next, we set up specific questions that allow the customer to rate your business on a scale of 1 to 5, and map the next question number for each choice. We follow this up with a question that prompts the customer to provide a free text comment or feedback with a yes/no option. If they select yes, then the free text response is asked for. Again, we map the step number of this question to the answer choices of the previous question. Now, we set up the question that asks for the free text response by selecting the question type accordingly. We map the answer choice yes to this free text question. We now complete the survey with a message that appreciates your customer's time, and configure it as an end of conversation in the question type. Also, the answer choice no is mapped to the appreciation message. We also create another message that prompts the customer to take up the survey at a later time of convenience, marking it as an end of conversation. This message is mapped to the first question's not now answer choice. Now, let's get back to the NPS question. For scores in the average zone of the bell curve, which in our case is the set of scores between 6 and 8, we look for more qualitative and descriptive feedback by prompting questions 3, 4, 5, and 6. For scores outside the average zone, like low scores or high scores, you may want to know what is the reason for the extreme sentiment. We do that by prompting the customer with a question that provides answer choices that are more descriptive and exhaustive. We use a multiple choice question type that allows selection of more than one option. Also, the number of choices shown are more than 10. We map the step number, 11 in this case, to the extreme negative sentiment scores ranging from 1 to 5. This will prompt question 11 if the customer rates the NPS with a score from 1 to 5. Let's set up the answer choices for question number 11. We do that in the sheet called Multiple Select Answers 10+. We've provided 14 choices in both English and French, followed by the 15th option, which captures free text input-based opinion or comment. Notice how we've incremented the choice number for each option, ranging from 1 to 15. All of these choices belong to question number 11, as mapped in the first column called step number. Now, back in the template sheet, we configure the next step number, for question number 11, which is a multi-select question type. In this case, we take the control back to step number 7, by entering 7 as the next step number. Similarly, we set up another multi-select question type that allows selection of more than one option, to identify the reasons for the extreme positive sentiment scores of 9 and 10. We set this up as step number 12 and map this to the NPS questions answer choices for the scores 9 and 10. Now we create the answer choices for step number 12, in the sheet called Multiple Select Answers 10+. We can include a special option in choice number 14, to enable the customer to select all the answer choices. We also provide a 15th choice that captures free text input. Finally, we map this step number 12, to the NPS choices of positive sentiment scores, 9 and 10. And we take the control back to step number 7. All of the branching in the NPS question, which is step number 2, will lead to the steps 9 and 10, which are end of conversation, to complete the survey. All completed surveys are visible in the Conversations tab. Select a conversation and the survey response can be viewed. Now, you upload the customized workflow sheet to your right-hand account. We've explained this in our video on mapping your Google Drive account. Check out the description for the video link. It's basically a synchronization of the workflow steps in the customized template with the database. We select the sheet from the dropdown, and hit the Sync Database button. Next, we can load the workflow steps from the database, now that the sync is complete. We've designed the survey flow. What we need next is a click-through link that we can embed in our invite email or SMS to take the customer to the survey page. The link contains the context of the survey, like the step number of the first question, the customer's name, email, and mobile number, etc. So, we create a survey campaign, configure these details, and follow it up by uploading the list of customers who are the target for this survey. First, we pick the welcome message, or the starting point of the survey flow. We select step number 1, click the Load Surveys button, and go to step 8 to set up surveys. In step 8, we create the survey campaign by providing a name. We've selected English as the default language. Once the survey page loads up, customers can switch to other languages if they want. Also, we define the survey fluidity. In this case, it's going to be dynamic, where the questions change based on the answer choice of the previous question. We also select the mechanism for inviting customers, which is either through an email or SMS. Please set up the SMS gateway in the Settings tab, if you'd like to send SMS invites. Check out the description for a link to our video on setting up your SMS gateway. We now hit the Save button and create the survey campaign. This also generates the survey click URL format. This link is dynamic, and will include the encrypted values of each customer's personal details. You can create as many survey campaigns as you need, for the same survey template that you've customized. For example, every 6 months, you may want to capture the feedback from the same set of customers who gave their feedback earlier. This would need a new survey campaign, since the customers have already participated in the earlier survey campaign. However, if there is a new set of customers, whose feedback you want to capture, you may reuse an existing survey campaign, and upload the new list, before scheduling the invite email or SMS. Now, let's test the survey campaigns. Click through URL. Scroll down to section 8.2, where you can generate a survey test link, and visualize the survey. Enter your mobile number, name and email in the respective fields, and click the Generate Survey Link button. Now, click the Launch Survey button. You can now view the survey and answer the questions, to verify the flow. Let's invite some customers to participate in the survey. We'll need a template to fill in the customer details and upload the sheet. We first download this template, in step 2 of the RBA Rules tab, by selecting Target Audience Upload List Template, and hitting the Download button. Scrolling down to step 8, where we created the survey campaign, we select that survey and load it. Now, we can see that we've selected email as the invite mechanism. Scroll down to step 8.3 where we can upload the sheet with the list of customers. Before we do that, let's look at the template and provide the audience details. The template we downloaded in step 2 is placed directly within the RHM-bot folder. We move it to the folder under which this survey template sheet has been placed. In this example, it's the drive folder called Retail. Now, we open this sheet and enter the details of the target audience. It captures the name, the mobile number with the country dial-in code, the email address, and optionally, the date of expiry of the survey link. Now, we go back to step 8.3 where we upload the target audience invite list. Select the Refresh option from the drop-down, and we'll be able to see the sheet now. Select this sheet and click the Upload button. Now, in step 8.4, we can schedule when we want the email invites to be sent. Select the Schedule option from the drop-down. We select the time at which the invite should be sent. It's always the next day's time that's shown. We pick 10 a.m. and click Execute. The invites are now scheduled to be sent at 10 a.m. the next day. The email invites will have the survey URL customized for each invitee. The link will have their details encrypted. This way, we can track who has clicked the invite, and apply analytics, and follow it up with more personalized action later on. For any queries, you can email support@4byoff.com. That's support@forбyof.com.